In 1397, in a castle on the Swedish coast, one woman did something no Viking king, no emperor, no pope had ever managed. She united all of Scandinavia, Denmark, Norway, and Sweden, with Finland, Iceland, and Greenland attached, one crown stretching from the edge of the Arctic to the German border. On paper, it was the largest realm in Europe. And on paper is the right phrase, because the treaty that founded it was quite literally an unfinished draft. This is the Kalmar Union, how the North became one country for 126 years, and why it ended in a square full of blood. Scandinavia in the 14th century was three quarrelsome kingdoms, all weakened by the same catastrophe, the Black Death, and all watching German merchants of the Hanseatic League grow rich off their trade. The union that fixed this was not built by conquest. It was built by funerals. Margaret, daughter of the Danish king, was married at age 10 to the King of Norway. Then the deaths began. Her father died. Her infant son, Olaf, inherited Denmark. Her husband died. Olaf inherited Norway too. Then, at 17, Olaf himself suddenly died. And Margaret, a widow with no living child, should have vanished from history. Instead, both kingdoms did something extraordinary. They kept her. The councils of Denmark and Norway proclaimed her, in the words of the time, sovereign lady and rightful master. Sweden came last. Its nobles, feuding with their own German-born king, invited Margaret in, and in 1389, her armies crushed him. She now controlled all three crowns without wearing any of them. A German chronicler sneered at the Lady King. The Lady King was busy winning. To make the union permanent, Margaret needed a king, male and from her bloodline. She chose her great-nephew, a boy from the Baltic coast, renamed Erik of Pomerania. On the 17th of June 1397, at Kalmar Castle, lords from all three realms watched him crowned King of Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. Then came the paperwork, and history's strangest founding document. Two letters were drawn up. The coronation letter, on fine parchment, glorified the new king. The union letter, the actual constitution, declaring the three kingdoms joined in an everlasting union, promises in its own text to be executed on parchment with 17 hanging seals. What actually survives is paper with 10 seals pressed into it and corrections scribbled in the margins. A draft. Most historians think it was never formally completed, possibly because Margaret herself refused the nobles' terms. Think about that. The union of all Scandinavia ran for over a century on an unratified rough copy. The rules it sketched were simple: one king forever, but each kingdom keeps its own laws, its own council, its own customs. One crown, three countries. It was a personal union, and as long as the person was Margaret, it worked. Margaret died in 1412, and the union passed to Erik, a king with grand ambitions and a gift for making enemies. He fought a ruinous war over Schleswig with the German counts of Holstein. He picked a fight with the Hanseatic League, and to pay for it all, in 1429, he invented something you may remember from an earlier episode, the sound toll, a tax on every ship passing the Strait of Elsinore, which would bankroll Danish kings for 400 years. It was brilliant for Denmark. It was terrible for the Union. Because Sweden's economy ran on exporting iron and copper, and Erik's wars and tolls strangled that trade, while his Danish and German bailiffs collected taxes from Swedish castles. In 1434, the miners and peasants of central Sweden rose under a leader named Engelbrekt, the first great popular revolt in Swedish history, and the rebellion spread until Erik's rule collapsed. By 1439, Denmark and Sweden had both formally deposed him. And here, the story turns absurd. The ex-king of all Scandinavia sailed to the island of Gotland, installed himself in the fortress of Visby, and spent the next decade as a pirate, plundering the very Baltic trade he once taxed. From king of the north to king of the freebooters. After him, the Union became a revolving door. Sweden accepted some Union kings, expelled others, and for long stretches ran itself under homegrown regents. The one crown was now half a crown, hanging by a thread of Danish ambition. The thread snapped under Christian II of Denmark. In 1520, he invaded Sweden to take back his crown by force, defeated the Swedish regent, and, crucially, promised a full and general amnesty. Stockholm opened its gates. On the 4th of November, he was crowned, and for 3 days, the city feasted. Danes and Swedes drinking together, the Union apparently reborn. On the evening of the 3rd day, the doors of the hall were locked. The Archbishop, an old enemy of the regent's party, produced a list. An amnesty met its loophole. The king's promise, his lawyers argued, could not cover heresy, a crime against God. Over the following days, in the great square of Stockholm, bishops, nobles, and burghers were beheaded one after another. Around 82 people, by the executioner's own count. Among the dead, a nobleman named Erik of Vasa. Remember the surname. Christian sailed home, believing he had finally secured the Union. He had signed its death warrant with an axe. Erik Johansson's son, Gustav, a young noble already once held hostage by Christian, was now a fugitive with a price on his head. He fled to Dalarna, the mining country that had risen with Engelbrekt 90 years before, and begged the peasants to rebel. They hesitated. Gustav strapped on skis and headed for Norway. And then, as the story goes, news of the bloodbath arrived, and the men of Mora sent their 2 best skiers charging after him to call him back. That chase is rerun every winter to this day by 90,000 people as the Vasaloppet, the biggest cross-country ski race on Earth. Gustav returned, raised the miners, and this time the rebellion did not stop. On the 6th of June, 1523, he was elected King Gustav I of Sweden. The date is now Sweden's national day, and the Kalmar Union was dead. Denmark never quite accepted it. Over the next 3 centuries, Denmark and Sweden fought war after war after war. By many counts, more wars than almost any other pair of neighbors in Europe. And in a final heraldic insult, both kingdoms kept the Union's badge. To this day, Sweden's coat of arms carries 3 crowns, and Denmark's carries 3 crowns too, each quietly claiming the whole north. So, what was the Kalmar Union? A superpower that never quite existed, born from funerals, founded on an unratified draft, held together by one extraordinary woman and cut apart in one bloody square. The North learned its lesson. Union by crown fails. Today, Denmark, Norway, and Sweden are 3 of the closest countries on Earth. Open borders, a shared council, a bridge across the very strait where the toll was charged. They just needed to stop sharing a king first. One crown couldn't hold the North. It turned out nothing needed to.